Good day, everyone. How are you doing this morning? It's Makeda Valletta. I am live from Chicago on my IG page, The Body Scientist. Um, I will save it and repost it to my YouTube. And I want to talk about Colorado, even though I'm in Chicago. If you cannot hear me, let me know. Or if you can hear me, let me know. I have this microphone. So let me know if the sound is okay. So if somebody can just put a 1 if you can hear me. I guess I'll keep waiting. If you can hear me, put a 1 in the chat, please. Can you guys hear me? Should I turn off the mic? Okay, you can hear me. Thank you. Okay, perfect. So I just got back. Thank you so much for the feedback. Thanks. Okay. So I just got back from Colorado for the third time, but I've been to Denver twice, and then I just went to Fort Collins for the Cannabis Research Science Conference. And, wherever I travel, in the country or out of the country, I'm always looking at access to a healthy, active lifestyle. Okay, so I'm looking at the access that people have to a physical life, good quality air, good quality food, and all those different things. So there's many factors I look at. So in my experience with Denver and Fort Collins, which are about like an hour away from each other, first, the air is very dry. Some people, especially in Chicago, is very interesting. A lot of Chicago people prefer dry air. They're always moving to the desert. I personally cannot stand dry air. I like humidity. Humidity keeps your skin and your hair more moisturized. But the dryness can dry you out. So you have to take extra precautions to hydrate yourself. Both by drinking the right fluids and also by keeping your skin moisturized. So that's going to be a critical one. One thing about Fort Collins and Denver, I don't want to say Colorado because I've only been to those two areas, but I can imagine that it encompasses the whole state. But it's a very physical state. Like, people are very active. I think probably winter sports and hiking and there's mountains around. I went hiking in I think it was Boulder back in 2021, and it was the winter time. It was actually pretty cold that time. It might have been like 10 degrees when I did that. And I don't mind the winter because I always say when people complain about the winter, it's like all you have to do is keep it moving, okay? Put on the right clothes and keep it moving. Because honestly, when it's really hot, and I'm a summer baby, okay, my birthday was like on the 1st. I'm a summer baby, and I love the summer. I love the sun on my skin. But when it's really hot, I don't want to go outside and be physical. I don't want to go skate and do those things because you build up more heat. So if you live someplace where there's a winter, like I love to ice skate. I could be ice skating when it's 20 degrees and I'm hot. It's 20 degrees and people take off their coat because you're building up heat. So Denver, and to me, cooler weather actually promotes more physical activity. Like, there's a stereotype that like people in Florida are so physically active, and they're really not. Okay, they're really, really not. And do you know that Chicago has produced more professional athletes than any other city by far? And that is NBA players, NFL, NHL, and MLB. Okay, Chicago had several people in the last Winter Olympics. So Chicago is more physically active than the Californias and the Miamis. Okay, now with Colorado, going to the gym there, because I've been to the gym in Denver, been to the gym in Fort Collins. They don't have like the major commercial chains. Like, they don't have LA Fitness. I don't know if they have an Equinox, which is more of a luxury gym. But when I worked out in Denver and Fort Collins, I went to Crunch. Okay, got a free pass because Crunch allows you to get a week pass. They don't ask you for proof that you live in the state or anything like that. So I got a pass in Boulder, and I got a pass in Fort Collins. And in the gyms in Colorado, everybody, first of all, it's very white. Okay, like, it's not a very diverse place at all. But the people there are really tall. Okay, the men and the women are both really tall. Like, to me, it seems like one of the tallest states or cities. Okay, I feel like everybody's like, the women are like 6 feet, the men are like 6'5". Everybody's just tall, and they all look very fit. And when I say fit, I'm not talking about bodybuilders, okay? Because bodybuilders is not fit to me. That's just looking grotesque and posing. But they remind me of people in the Netherlands who also look very fit, like they're ready for whatever. They could go hiking, they could go swimming, they could go ride a bike, they could, go skate, whatever it was. So people there look very healthy, okay, and tall and strong and athletic. And even being in the gym, people are pretty serious, okay, when they're working out. They're doing more like athletic type workouts, okay. I'm a strength and conditioning coach, so I can tell the difference between bodybuilders working out and athletes working out. And I truly believe that everybody should train like an athlete. So in Denver, they're very, serious in the gym. The gyms have like 7 squat racks, which is another thing that you see in Chicago, which I love. I don't see that on the East Coast too much, probably because we don't have the space for it. But people in the gym get it in. And it's like, when I was there for a conference that went from like 8 in the morning to sometime in the evening. And I went to the gym all 3 days. And I was really inspired being in the gyms in Denver, because I just love being in a big like gym of people who are serious and on some athletic workouts. The conference I was at Colorado State University, and I would walk to the gym and back. Might have been like a 30-minute walk. Like, the New Yorker in me needs to walk. Okay. I feel like my body is wasting away if I'm driving from point A to point B all the damn time. Walking is important. So, but the weather in Colorado, just like the middle of the country, I don't like the weather in the middle of the country or the West Coast, okay, because it's too all over the place. So the first day I was there, it was like 90 something degrees, and I'm like, oh yes, I get to walk and get the sun on my skin. And I go inside this conference and I come out during lunch, and the temperature had dropped like 20, 30 degrees, and it's cloudy now and rainy, and it stayed like that for the next couple of days. And I was like legit cold. I don't like that. I think those extreme changes of temperature is what can make people sick. Like, it goes from August to October in an hour. Can't stand that. The desert is like that too. Just can't stand it. So then when it comes to cannabis, let me show you. Wow. So the cannabis there is really pretty affordable. This was like an ounce that came from a dispensary called Green Dragon. This dispensary was okay, but this ounce was $60, which is like, I've never seen anywhere in America where you can buy an ounce for $60. For those of you who don't know about cannabis, an ounce can be 200 and up. Okay, easy. But on this jar, this came from Green Dragon Dispensary. On this jar, they have a list of all these ingredients, and you probably can't read it. Because it's kind of blurry. But potassium nitrate, magnesium sulfate, monopotassium phosphate, phosphoric acid, magnesium nitrate, calcium chloride, calcium nitrate, chelated iron, manganese sulfate, boron, zinc sulfate, sodium molybdate, and copper sulfate. So these are all these ingredients on here, which means that these are, and this sounds so hard. This weed is so dried out. Like, they don't list the terpenes on here at all. Okay, just the THC. Now, just like with food, okay, you have food that's supposed to be organic or is organic, but they're still using tons of chemicals. So there's a lot of chemicals that is used on cannabis when grown. And this is the reason why just like with food, I would prefer to get it from craft growers, from local farmers who you can speak to and you know what they're doing. A lot of the regulated weed is like, they're just using a bunch of stuff. But when I purchased this, they had a list of tiers of cannabis, and this one came from the silver tier, which they said, which was cheaper. Okay. And still, even the more expensive stuff wasn't that expensive, but, and so he told me that this tier, this silver tier, was all grown outside and it was less expensive. So to me, that makes me think that they think that outdoor weed is less valuable or something, when I know that cannabis that's grown outdoors is the best kind. Okay. Just like food that's grown outdoors. It's like a difference between growing tomatoes in your apartment and growing tomatoes outside under the sun in nature. It's two different things. You're going to have a wider array of terpenes and beneficial compounds in that plant if it's grown in nature, as opposed to grown under artificial lights indoors. Okay. So I found that interesting that, and I feel like it's hard in a lot of states to find outdoor cannabis. In New York, there's a couple of cannabis brands that sold in the dispensary that are completely sun moon grown. Um, but like with all the states, okay, a lot of times there's issues with cannabis because it's not going directly from like the farmer to people and it's going through different hands. Sometimes stuff is old. And to the cannabis connoisseurs, I've heard a lot of them complain that Colorado weed was trash. Um, I'm not an expert in that kind of thing because some people are very particular, but I just remember the last time I was in Denver, which was in 2021, I didn't remember there being a problem with it. I went to Denver in 2021 and maybe like 2018. In 2018, I loved it because Denver, there were dispensaries everywhere. And at the time, it wasn't like that in Chicago. It wasn't like that in New York. It wasn't like that in a lot of places. But what was I going to say? But this time, okay, I went to 2 different dispensaries and the cannabis was very dry, like extremely dry. So I don't know what that's about. I don't know if that is because of the air. I don't know. Okay. But it was in this right here, like when I smoked it, I felt like I could feel the residue of the chemicals, okay, because it like will bother your throat a little bit. When you're consuming cannabis that's, doesn't have all that on it, it doesn't usually irritate you. So I'm like, I would need to do more research into the cannabis market in Colorado because I'm not so sure about it, okay? But there is access to it. There's access to it and the prices are good. So for someone who's using cannabis medicinally, that's important. Being able, how easy do you have access to it? And and part of that is the prices. Okay. It's the amount of locations you can go to, but it's also the prices because when people take pharmaceuticals, insurance is paying for it or whatever, insurance is not going to pay for it. So affordability is important. So there's that. Also, just like a lot of the West Coast and even some other states, like people always talking about American food is so bad. We consume things as banned in other countries and but there's a lot of states and a lot of areas in this country where people are very conscious about consuming local foods that come from local farmers. That there are many states that are like that. And in Colorado, I felt like, first of all, when I went to Whole Foods in Fort Collins, and they had unhomogenized, lightly pasteurized milk in the store, which I can find in most states except DC, okay, which is not really a state. But Washington, D.C. is the worst place when it comes to finding quality dairy. But Denver, they had a couple of options of that in the supermarket. I did not do too much of a search about finding raw milk, okay, because I was only there for a few days. But I do think that raw milk is easy to find in Colorado, the Denver-Fort Collins area in particular. So if you're in the Denver-Fort Collins area and you know anything about the raw milk situation, please comment. Am I correct? Is it easy to find raw milk? I think it is, even though I didn't do it. So, like, even though I walked a lot, I don't think that I can't speak for Denver because it's been 3 years since I've been there. But I will say in Fort Collins, I don't think people walk that much, okay? One of the walks that I took to the gym, it was really kind of like I felt like I was walking on the side of a highway. And to me, that's not walker friendly, okay? So I don't know if it's the most walker friendly place. Like, yeah, you can walk places, but like me being from New York, it's like no matter where you want to walk, it's walker friendly. There's sidewalks. The sidewalks don't end. You don't end up next to a highway or something. So the walkability of Fort Collins is in it. Like Denver is pretty walkable. Denver's just very hilly. If I can remember, is Denver hilly? I don't remember if Denver is hilly, but Denver to me seemed more walkable. It didn't look like people in Fort Collins walk that much. They're just like most of American people drive. I'm trying to think of anything else I need to say. The food that I had there, even like some seafood I had, tasted very fresh, which is kind of weird because it's a landlocked state. It's not by the ocean, but I don't know where the seafood came from. But the seafood that I had, it tasted really fresh. And I just feel like there is, because when I go places, like looking at people, when people just have a glow and they look healthy, and looking healthy has to do with your body composition, just a bunch of different things, how your skin looks. To me, it makes me feel like those people are eating good quality food. Because people who are eating like fast food and IHOP all the time, they look like it, okay? Like, they just look like it. Skin, just a bunch of things. Look broke down. You know, people in Colorado don't look like that. People are pretty friendly. But yeah, I think that access to a healthy, active lifestyle that is pretty decent there, because there's plenty of opportunities to go hiking. And also being higher up, you know, you're going to, for some people it makes them sick. I've never felt sick in Colorado. But the elevation, Fort Collins is like 277 feet lower than Denver. And Denver is like around 5,000 or something like that. Or I don't know the exact number, a little bit under a mile. That is quality air though, when you go up in the mountains, and you know, you get some breezes. So, and I like to, hold on a minute, let me see something. Ugh. I didn't look up any facts before I did this on air quality. But I knew when I went to Senegal that air quality was not good. I knew that before I looked anything up. Let me see something. I think that Colorado has good air quality, which is also important for your health, okay? And when I was in the supermarket, because I'll go to Whole Foods everywhere I go, they don't all have the same thing. Oh, you know what? Wait a minute. Talking about air quality. Before I came there, a few days before I came there, the air quality was really bad because of some forest fires or something. It cleared up when I got there. I don't know how often that's happening. So that was one issue with air quality. Hold on. Oh, when I was in, I go to Whole Foods in every city. They don't all have the same thing. And I have a video, I may post it, but they had like some popsicles that every time I see popsicles, especially ones that are like strawberry and cream or peaches and cream, like those, I'm a dairy person, so I like stuff with cream. I'd rather have a strawberries and cream or peaches and cream or orange and cream popsicle than just have one that's straight fruit, because it's just straight sugar. I like to have that fat. I like the creaminess. So whenever I see popsicles like that, like in Chicago, you see it a lot because Mexicans have paletas, and so you see them a lot. Whenever I pick them up, they always have like carrageenan, guar gum, xanthan gum, artificial stuff. They always have like a bunch of emulsifiers and toxic ingredients. But in Denver, for the first time in my life, anywhere I've been, picked up a popsicle that said peaches and cream, strawberries and cream, and I look at the ingredients, and there was no artificial flavors, no natural flavors, which is the same thing, no guar gum, no carrageenan, no xanthan gum, none of those toxic ingredients. The ingredients was completely good. It was like strawberries, milk, salt. You know, it was very simple. And I was shocked by that, actually, because I've never seen that before. So I just think that there is, a real consciousness in Colorado about, you know, good ingredients, locally sourced foods, and stuff like that. So that's what it seems like to me. And for me, being there, it just inspired me to be physical. Okay, I'm like, I need to go to the gym. And especially sitting in a conference all day. I'm like, I'm not built to be sitting down all day. So, and there's a lot of gyms. There's a lot of like local gyms. It seemed like a good number of them had day passes, you know, so you could rent them, or like a week pass if you were out of state. So yeah, I think that between food and physical activity, air quality, and cannabis, Colorado is a place. And again, I'm specifically speaking about the Fort Collins, Denver area, because I've never been to any other part of Colorado, and I don't like to speak about a whole state based on a city or two that I've been to. But I'll say in that Denver, Fort Collins area, they seem to be very conscious of just living a healthy lifestyle, okay? And there's a lot of cannabis consumption and a lot of exercising. So you probably could say the same thing about California. You could say the same thing about New York. New York is actually the number one cannabis consuming city. And it's also very physically active. Okay. New York is like the fitness capital. It's a very physically active city. So yeah, I think I've never looked, I didn't check out any farmers markets or anything. So this is just based on the little that I saw. So if anybody has experience in the Fort Collins, Denver area, and you want to comment on these things, please feel free. I am pretty sure, like I said, there's raw milk access in Colorado. Now, what the law says and what's actually happening is two different things. Okay, so I just looked it up. The raw milk in Colorado is illegal. Okay, for human consumption, but that's also true in Georgia and Illinois, and I get raw milk every week in Chicago. Okay, if you haven't seen my videos about raw milk, check it out, and you understand the politics behind it. Raw milk is demonized just like cannabis. Now I see an article from January 2024 that says that raw milk may become legal in Colorado. Okay. It says raw milk became, but it says, but you won't see it in the supermarket anytime soon. There's so much. I mean, you don't see it in the supermarket really anywhere. And I see articles from April of this year. Now I see another article that says in Colorado you must own a cow to legally access raw milk. I'm just going to say that what the law says and what actually happens be two different things. Okay. I actually have not gone through the process to obtain raw milk, so I don't know. A lot of times you don't know till you try. But there's a website, rawmilk.com and realmilk.com, and I definitely saw places in Colorado to get raw milk. So if you have had raw milk in Colorado, please let me know. And I see an article also from this year where it says direct sales of raw milk to the consumer are likely coming. Now, cannabis and raw milk have similar histories and battles and politics and BS, okay? And people should be able to buy anything, food, herbs, or whatever, directly from the farmer if they want, all right? So it's ridiculous that the things that are actually good for us, like raw milk, like cannabis, are so demonized, okay? But they give you all the pharmaceuticals and fake milk in the world, okay? So yeah, I think I said everything I'm going to say. I'm going to do a video talking about the cannabis research conference that I went to in Fort Collins and talking about some of the, topics and some of the things learned. And I'm going to do a video about that. So if you're interested in that, definitely stay tuned for that. I'll be doing that soon. And please share anything you would like. And I will see you guys later. Be sure you follow me on YouTube and be sure that you follow me on Instagram. Okay, people? Peace out.